Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Lana, linguist by education and artist at heart, and today we are looking at some videos by the YouTube creator Loïc Suberville. For those of you who have never come across his videos, Loïc is a YouTuber who mainly makes shorts. He's also an actor and a polyglot. He speaks English, French, and Spanish. So yeah, on YouTube he makes skits like how different languages came up with various words for objects or things. You'll see examples in a second so that you'll understand what I'm talking about, because you're probably thinking, ooh, how can languages be entertaining and funny? Trust me, they can. I've chosen this topic for today's video because I really like his videos. That's just really my kind of humor. There's nothing I enjoy more than a good pun or wordplay. So in addition to just watching and reacting, I thought it could also be interesting to peek behind the curtain, if you will, and see what it actually is from a linguistic perspective that makes these skits and shorts work, that makes them funny. As you can probably tell by the quality of the video, we're testing out something else today. Let me know if you're liking this quality and this kind of... yeah. As most of you know, my native language is Slovenian, but I studied English and German at university. I also took 2 or 3, I can't really remember, but I think it was 2 years of French in high school. That was like an elective subject. I wouldn't say I speak it, but I understand it a little bit. To be fair, from my experience, knowing English also helps you understand French a fair bit. Obviously not in terms of grammar, but when it comes to the lexicon, to the words, there are a lot of instances where you can recognize the word. Because, you know, historically there was a lot of interaction and influence between the two languages, between English and French. So when it comes to certain words, you can kind of infer the meaning, although not always correctly. And whilst our first example is not French English, but rather Spanish English, it is a great case of false friends. So let's have a look at our first video.
Perdón, ¿usted habla español? Shit. Hablo español, pero estoy, how do you say embarrassed? Embarazada. ¿Embarazada? Sí, embarazada. Un poco. ¿Un poco? Sí, un poco, pero si tomo un poco de alcohol, menos embarazada, ¿sí?
So as I said, this is a nice example of false friends. Two words that kind of look similar when you see them written out, and they may even sound similar, but the meaning is completely different. Embarrassed versus embarazada. Oh. They kind of look similar written out, they sound similar-ish, right? And if you wouldn't know any better, you might think, oh yeah, that's probably the English translation and vice versa. But of course the meaning is very different. Embarazada means pregnant and embarrassed just means embarrassed, ashamed. I actually had a case of false friends happen to me, or well, it didn't happen to me, I brought it upon myself. So this was back when I was just starting college, and so all the lessons were in English, the German lessons were in German, but all English lessons were in English so that we would be in contact with the language as much as possible. So basically for the majority of the day when you're there, you're listening to English, you're speaking English, and it kind of becomes second nature. And that's also when a lot of code switching happened for me. This means, so when you're, for example, talking in your native language, let's say I'm talking Slovenian, and then I don't remember a word in Slovenian, so I just say it in English. Or let's say I just switch to English mid-sentence randomly. That would be code switching. And so this brings us to preservatives. We all know what preservatives are. They're in food to help expand its shelf life. But little did I know that preservatives in Slovenian, prezervativi, means something very, very different. It means rubber. And not the kind that car tires are made of. Now, it's a fairly archaic expression. I've never really heard it used by anyone from my generation or even from my mom's generation. Maybe like my grandparents would use it. It's in the dictionary, however. And so imagine my grandma's face when we're out shopping and I'm looking at some plant milks. I'm just, choosing and going, oh yeah, I think I'll go for this one. It looks better. It has fewer preservatives. Yeah. Hard to recover from that. Still, I think it's interesting when you look at the meaning, right? To preserve something in its original state. You can't say that there isn't some logic in the Slovenian meaning. You know, it preserves. Let's move on.
All right, French, how about this letter? Yes, okay, so we have named that letter Greek I. Y. Greek I? Why? Yes, why? What? What? Why Greek? No, not why Greek, Greek I. What? What? Well, I don't understand what you don't understand. It's Y, so it's not why Greek or Greek E. It's Y, so it's Greek I.
So this one I found super interesting because I didn't know why that's a thing. And it made me wonder, yeah, why is Y in French? Just by the way, why and why? Cute little case of homophones there. Words that are spelled differently and have different meanings but are pronounced the same also kind of makes the joke work even more, right? Because he goes, why? But if I return to Y, this letter or this sound was not native to the Latin speakers. In Latin was pronounced Y. So Greek I. It was foreign to the Latin alphabet, to the ancient Romans essentially. Whilst we usually think of the Italians as the descendants of the ancient Romans, so were the French, at least partially. Obviously, the Roman Empire had a huge historical and cultural influence. Now, the French are also descendants of other peoples, so of the Gauls, of the Franks. As for the original name of this letter in Greek, it was basically called upsilon. And that's what many languages call it today. In Slovenian, we have ypsilon. In German, they call it upsilon. And apparently in Italian, both names are used. Ypsilon as well as Y. And now you know why Y is called Y.
Salut Dieu, salut ange. Alors t'as bien nourri mon peuple? Quoi? Je t'avais dit qu'ils avaient l'air d'avoir faim sur terre, de leur donner un peu de pain de mie. Je leur ai donné une pandémie. Du pain de mie. Pandémie. Pain de mie.
I just can't with his little beard napkin thing. Anyway, pandémie versus pandémie. Pandémie, pandémie. Is a slight little difference, right? On versus a. French people correct me. I'm doing my best. So pandémie and pandémie would be near homophones, words that sound almost identical but not quite. An example in English would probably be affect versus effect, or precede versus proceed, advice versus advise. But just in case you were wondering, there's another one. Wonder. Yeah. In case you were curious what pandémie is, so pandémie is just a very soft bread. According to Google, it's similar to the American sandwich bread. It has a soft crust, as opposed to very crunchy, baguette-like crust. And here is the last example for today. This one's gonna get us talking about the holidays. Let's look.
So today's April 1st. We thought it would be a great day to just go out and prank people for fun. We just need to come up with a name for it. Yes, we are going to call it April's Fish. What? You take a fish and you stick it on people's back. It's a paper fish. It's a fish that you draw and you cut it out. Why?
Where is it? No, I lost the fish. There it is. Okay, guys, let me show you something. I turned my room upside down to find this because I remembered it vividly and I was like, are you seeing the fish? Look, he's got the fish on his back. Ignore the notes. This is, like I said, from my high school years. This is a textbook for French and it's Poisson d'avril. Okay, so yeah, this is where I learned that if you're in France and you want to eat fish, you should always order the poisson, never the poisson. Badumts. So those of you who aren't French are probably just as confused as you were when we started watching Loïc's video, but yes, what's the deal with French and April 1st and the fish? Why is it April fish in France? Well, apparently no one really knows for sure. For all my French viewers, if you're out there, feel free to add to this discussion, but here's what I found. So there are apparently several theories, one of the most popular ones being the following. This theory claims that apparently April was a bad month for fishing, or that fishing even wasn't allowed because the fish would need to grow and then be caught later when they're bigger. They were too small to be caught as early as in April, essentially. So basically to serve or to fish in April would be impossible. A joke, really, to claim that you had a fish in April. And sticking a paper fish onto someone's back on April 1st in France is a thing, apparently. Not super common according to the article or the blog post that I found. It's all linked down below. You can go read it. It's really nice and it explains this holiday in a beautiful way. But if we go back a little in the 1800s, people would apparently send Poisson d'Avril postcards to each other with good wishes on April 1st. So if you're French or celebrate this holiday in a French way, feel free to let us know in the comments how you celebrate it, this holiday. As for us in Slovenia, obviously it's not April fish here, it's just, April Fools. We celebrate it essentially like the Americans, as far as I know. You know, you prank people, little harmless pranks. So yeah, that's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, for making it to the end. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you maybe learned something new and that you also had a good laugh. Leave your comments down below. Take care, and I will be seeing you very soon. Bye, guys.